Hey, what did the one cranberry hibiscus say to the other?
No, they don't speak English. But what I do know is what we're going to talk about in the video today. Hi, and welcome to Suburban Life Permaculture. Today I want to talk to you about the wonderful cranberry hibiscus. I'm going to take you from seed to cutting back. What we have here, these are the seeds. So these are our little cranberry hibiscus seeds. These haven't been water bathed, and you can check another video for that. We'll be doing that also. But these look like, just by looking at them for a viability test, these look pretty good. So that's about what they're going to look like. Then, this is just a little baby seedling. This was part of our seedling test of our seeds. And I don't have a middle of the rotor one, but down here, amongst all of the passion fruit, this is a youngster. And this one will grow up and give us all kinds of nutrients. And what you saw here in front of me, this is one that was from last season. And let me show you a little bit of harvesting here. Let me see so we can keep them right here. So let me show you what we're going to do as far as harvesting. So the cranberry hibiscus, all hibiscus flowers, and I want you to do your own research, but all cranberry hibiscus flowers should be edible, meaning they're non-toxic. And only the leaves of certain ones are also non-toxic, edible. And cranberry hibiscus is. And they taste lovely. They're kind of a tangy flavor to them. And if you want them, you can use the tender ones. I have used all the way from little new tender ones to the very, very big ones. See if we have any. No, we don't have any of the big ones quite yet. They've all kind of died from the last season. To the bigger ones. For me, doesn't matter. Most of the time, I'm going to be cooking them. I don't put them in salads, although you can. I usually saute them with garlic and olive oil. Lovely. So when we're harvesting, we're going to harvest the leaves, and I also do a couple other things when I harvest from here. I will harvest the flowers. Now I've experimented on what works best for me. Rather than just taking the flower petals and dehydrating them, it's a pain in the booty. So what I do instead, if you look here, this flower is not likely to open up again. I try to keep them on the plant as long as I can because I want those pollinators to have as much food as they can. So then I call these little cranberry hibiscus strawberries, and they kind of are reminiscent of that, some more than others. And then I will go ahead and harvest this, and then I will dehydrate it. Once it's dehydrated, it will look, it'll shrink of course, and then it'll be kind of a darker purple. So I call those cranberry hibiscus blueberries. And I'll show you a picture of that in the video. Now, let's go ahead and work on harvesting the leaves. I have some handy dandy pruners here. I'm just going to look and see what kind of leaves look nice. Let me get a couple of these right here. So what I do is I get a few, and I've gotten a bunch before, just depends on your pruners and what you like, but I usually take these and I kind of line them up like this, and then I fold them. So now you can see where the stems go right there, and I just do one of these little dewjobbers, and what that'll do is just get off that stem, because you're not going to eat the stem, and now I have these leaves that I can dehydrate or I can eat. When you dehydrate the leaves or the flowers, then you can go ahead and use them for tea. The leaves I've dehydrated and I just use for greens over the winter. I have a whole lot of them this year because we've had a mild winter, and I have had plenty of cranberry hibiscus fresh off the plant to go ahead and use in my sauteed plants. So the other thing that I'm going to harvest from here are the seed pods. So if you look right over here, normally after, even in Florida, we have enough cold days that the plant will die back. No problem. It will come back from the root as long as it has a good strong root system. So this is our seed pod. We know this is definitely ready, one, because it's all dried up, and two, it's opening up. In fact, you got to be careful when it starts opening up, it's going to start releasing those seeds. So part of these seeds may have fallen on the ground and will just make you more cranberry hibiscus plants. So no big deal. So yeah, you can see here, right in there, their seeds are getting ready to pop out. So check this plant out. It looks really vibrant and healthy. It's got a whole bunch of flowers still on it. It's still making seed pods. So this is why I'm going to do something different with these. See, it does have some dead areas and some seed pods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down so we can still get the benefit of the flowers and things like that. If this didn't look healthy, I probably wouldn't do this. I would cut it back even further. But for now, we're going to do this. I may go ahead and change my mind later. But for now, this is what I'm going to do. And then we'll just do the same thing we did with everything else. And one thing that I didn't share with y'all, over here, is you don't want to let your plants get too tall. So this is right here why you do not let your cranberry hibiscus get too tall. What I tell people normally is what you're going to want to do is cut them down and make compost, or you can make cuttings with what you cut off the top, probably around 5 or 6 feet. Cut them down to about 3 or 4 feet, and then you'll avoid this. Make cuts that kind of mean something for your needs, for what the plant needs. So here is just a few examples of these flowers I'm picking up. See how much they look like strawberries? That's why I call them strawberries. This is a little closer to what it will come down to be. This has just been naturally dehydrating on the vine, but it'll get even smaller. It'll get harder because it'll dehydrate, and it will look very, very purple, and that's why I call these in the final stage the blueberries. You can just make some lovely tea with it. All right, so this over here is a better example of how it will die back in the winter. Oddly enough, it is next to the fish pond, which is a little microclimate, so it's really odd that this particular plant has done what they normally do. But you can see where these are dying back, and there's nothing wrong with it. It is actually going to come up better once I cut it back. So this one I'll probably cut back pretty far. that one, I'll probably do the same as well. But first what we're going to do is we're going to collect these seed pods. So I have this right here that we can collect this in. Hello, Mr. Owl. I'm going to move your little booty up here. All right, so this is what we're collecting the seed pods in. And I just pop them off just like this in here. And then later, when we have time, we will go through and release the seeds from the pods. Okay, and the rest of these probably aren't going to work. One year we went ahead and took these and put them through the chipper shredder. Unfortunately, these don't do that very well. So what I do now is just make my own little wood chips and let these go into the biomass. The reason why is because, see how it's kind of peeling back? It just strings up in there. I mean, you could probably make some sort of rope with it, but we're just going to go ahead. It just gets all bogged up into the chipper shredder. So I just go through, and as I pop off the seed pods, and then it goes into the biomass, degrades, and it just becomes food for the plant. So let's do it one more time, since this is in our little bird deterrent. I'll go ahead and see if I can get this one out. That's not viable. The cool thing is that once we do this, we'll go through and we'll do a water bath on the seeds to check for viability. And it doesn't really matter if they're in this state. See how this one's closed? These are open. Doesn't matter. I save them all. The water bath will tell us if they're not viable or not. You can see they're all in different stages of opening and closed. All right, give me a minute to finish this up and I'll show you about cutting back. So we have about 4 plants here. The one that has died back the most is this one. I'm going to show that as an example of what I do if it were to be a regular Florida winter. The other ones I will go in and I'll show you how I'm gonna handle this for this particular season, just because I'm not used to it and I'm gonna experiment a little bit and see what happens. The biggest thing is experimenting doesn't really harm the plants much, and then you learn a whole bunch of stuff that you can use for another season. We have a lot of Cranberry Hibiscus, so I'm sure that we're not going to be killing them at all. So with this plant, I've gone ahead and done a lot of cutting back. In fact, this one right here looks like it's not going to be a really good one. It's already showing that weakness there. Out of here. Oh, come on. There we go. And one thing you might be yelling right now at your screen, Holly, look at that. There's this viable parts of this plant. Why are you cutting it off? It's okay. If you want to keep it, you can. Absolutely. Not telling you how to cut back your plant. But believe me when I tell you, when you cut this back, if you have a really good root system, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back even better. So for me, I have tons of them. I'm not worried about this. I just cut this off into the biomass I was telling you about before. And then you'll see how weak this is. That's not going to do the plant any favors. We're trying to get this all down so we end up having a really healthy plant here. So I'm just going to cut this out, and we'll be cutting it down even further. So even though this looks like it's a really healthy plant, Did you see how easy that was to move? In the end, in the long run, that will not be a very healthy branch, and it could be detrimental for the rest of the plant. So we're just going to cut it down and let it just come up from that really healthy root system to become an even stronger plant. So it's going to actually extend its life and do wonderful things for it. We're going to have a video about coppicing and pollarding, so look for that. Once we have it, we'll go ahead and link it to this one. But that's really what we're doing here, and it's mostly what we do to trees, but it works just as well with this shrub. And that takes us back to where we started, the seeds. So remember, we're collecting the seed pods, and then you just go ahead and collect them. Now these here aren't as dark as I like to see them, but that's okay. That's why we're going to do seed viability tests. And once we have that video made, I'll just go ahead and link it to this one. It's just a wonderful shrub. It's food, it's possible medicine, it's resilient, it's wonderful. So what's your favorite green? Tell us in the comments below. I don't care. If you like, subscribe, or share, you do you. Carpe diem, y'all.